Last year, we witnessed continued and unprecedented political gridlock. Throughout the year, there were threats of government shutdowns.
We want to work!
NTEU responded.
Political attack! Political attack! Let them know! Let them know!
Through the pay freeze, federal employees contributed $60 billion in deficit reduction. This year, when Congress needed funds to pay for the payroll tax cut extension, they targeted the retirement benefits of future federal employees.
You are doing your job, helping the people of this country in public service. And I really start by saying thank you. Now, you're looking at me and saying, well, you know, Congress has a strange way of saying thank you. And that's right. But this is the fight that we're in. I am proud to stand with you. We will not take any more. Enough's enough.
Some see little value in federal agencies and see federal employees as being overpaid.
We're way behind the private sector, and people who keep saying that we make too much, we make more than what private sector employees are making, is simply not correct.
And the fact is, with 2-year pay freeze, we've already contributed $60 billion towards helping with the deficit.
Many federal employees find that hypocritical, particularly with those in the middle class feeling as though they don't have much to sacrifice in comparison to millionaires and billionaires.
We do all sorts of jobs, and if there weren't federal employees, you would notice, and everyone would suffer for it. So attacking federal employees just doesn't make sense.
And it also trivializes the contributions of federal employees for what they do for the nation.
I think what we saw in 2011 was a very long list of things that we had to defend against for federal employees, and we did that successfully.
Last year, NTEU beat back proposals to cut the federal workforce by up to 15%, efforts to increase pension contributions for current employees, proposals to change the annuity formula from high 3 to high 5, an extension of the pay freeze for 1 to 3 more years, an end to step increases, cutbacks in workers' comp benefits for federal employees, and attempts to eliminate the FERS supplement and the entire defined benefit portion of FERS. Members of Congress are still pursuing plans to cut the value of pensions, to increase employee pension contributions, and end the Social Security supplement.
Pension plans for federal employees really should be sacred. And right now, they're under attack to be used to pay for any project, no matter what the project is. And they look to the federal employee to be the source of funds to fund that project.
You know, we had a deal. When I signed on, this is the deal they made with me. If I stayed for 30 years and did a good job and gave it my best shot, this is what they would do for me. I don't like people who go back on their deals. That's really not the American way.
These battles will continue as long as we have elected officials that are hostile to federal employees.
Everything about the working life of a federal employee is decided by those who are elected. Everything. What the agency staffing level will be, what the agency funding will be, what federal pay will be, what the retirement benefits will be, and what your contributions to that retirement will be, what your FEHB health insurance will be, whether you have collective bargaining rights and can be represented by a union. Who will do the work of the federal government? Will it be contractors or federal employees? Every one of those things are decided by those who are elected, and the list goes on and on.
I am a Customs and Border Protection officer, and my job is to keep my country safe.
NTEU's PSA campaign achieved over 200 million audience impressions, with over 7,000 TV and 15,000 radio broadcasts. Free PSA time, valued at $5.5 million.
And if we don't tell our story, not only do we suffer, which we would as federal employees, but the job suffers that we're supposed to be doing for the American people.
NTEU submitted testimony or testified before Congress 18 times last year.
Ms. Kelly, what I'd like to do is I want to just have you step aside from your role with the Treasuries Union right now and assume, if you will, that you were in charge of making decisions of a corporation that was showing a significant decline in revenues, so much so that their debt has increased by 60% over a 10-year period of time, and you have to make a decision about personnel. Would you rather pursue a decision about personnel that you would have to let people go or have to reduce their salaries?
Well, the first thing I want to know is what caused the decline in revenue and what caused the debt.
But assume that it is. I mean, it is what it is. So now you have to make a decision.
If the workforce didn't cause it, then I need to get to the root cause of what it is. And in this case, I think there are a lot of other things to look at. Like,
so you can't say one way or the other what you would do?
Well, as I said, the workforce didn't cause the debt. If they didn't cause the debt, then I think that working with them and figuring out what can be done, and my bet is they're going to have some suggestions of how to change and do the work better and to not do things, for example, like cut taxes on the wealthiest Americans that is probably impacting the revenue that's coming in.
NTEU prides itself on providing first-class representation for its members.
I can truly say that in the area of our formal defense, our employees have the very best service possible. We, on a consistent basis, prevail in cases that change people's lives.
Busy at the bargaining table, NTEU concluded several new labor agreements.
When you look at the bargaining that NTEU has done on term contracts the last few years, what stands out is that we've been able to take some of the most difficult to deal with employers, those employers who stall, and finally bring them in to a term contract. Customs and Border Protection ended a 3-year stall effort, and we got a contract there. We've moved in other agencies to get similar contracts. And these employees, many of them, for the first time, are working under collective bargaining agreements because of our efforts.
We won. We now, at OCC, can bargain for pay and total compensation. And we just completed our negotiations on our first compensation contract.
I would say that the average employee would say the bid rotation and placement article of the contract is probably one of the most popular articles. And what bid rotation and placement does is it allows an employee, based on seniority, to bid for a job. Before, management would pick employees based on favoritism, based on any number of other criteria other than seniority.
Our chapter finally got a new contract. It took 2 years to obtain this. We were fighting tooth and nail with management. We have telework, we have family medical leave, we have a lot more guidance on how management has to treat employees. Bargaining unit members are thrilled, ecstatic, relieved.
Membership is key to our success.
Membership is our lifeblood. Membership pays the bills. But I always look at membership kind of like the ocean or a kindergarten class. You never want to turn your back on either of those things. You always want to pay attention. The best way to encourage membership is to provide quality service. And that's what this union does.
For many people, they see the accomplishments that NTEU has made on the national level as well as on the local level, and they find themselves gravitating toward the union as a way of feeling safe about their future.
Our future will be determined in part by the outcome of the 2012 elections.
Right now, we get to decide as citizens of this country as to what happens with our futures. And it's important that we make our voices known so that we can continue to serve the American public in the best way that we can.
To all Americans alike, it's going to be a critical election, but for federal employees and even for the union, actually, because the attacks aren't just on federal employees, they're also on the union and our ability to represent federal employees.
Elections have consequences, and action is important, and inaction is unacceptable.
Go also with the candidate that's going to protect your paycheck, your job.
Your voice needs to be heard. You need to get out there and vote for those people that support federal employees, because if you don't, it's your career that you're jeopardizing, your retirement you're jeopardizing, your pay that you're jeopardizing.
We've been taking all the necessary steps to try to get our people mobilized and organized and prepared for the upcoming election. It's time to get out and make a difference. No longer can you sit back and reap the benefit of somebody else's hard work. It's time to get out and stand up for what you believe in.
When you strip away the hyperbole that you hear on the evening news, on the floor of Congress, and on the campaign trail, it is all of you, your co-workers and colleagues, who are working for a stronger America, who are building up communities, protecting our resources, and safeguarding our American way of life, working for a stronger America.
We're in this together. And I want every one of the people you work with that are not a part of the union, I want them to join up, but I want them to participate in saying, we are federal employees, we work hard, we deserve to be respected, we deserve to be compensated in a proper way so we can support our families. That's what you need to tell them. That's what I want you to tell them. That's what I want you to get energized about. That's what I want you every day to talk to your fellow employees, and let us hear your voice. Let us hear it strong and hard and frequently so the Congress of the United States knows we are fed up and we're not going to take it anymore. You let them know that. Every one of you, but every one of them as well. And if you do, we will win this battle. We will get the respect we deserve, and we will have a better day for America. God bless you.